Initially, when I made this video, I titled the video, Why Thousands of Indian Passport Holders in Dubai, UAE, Why is it that they fail? But then, after listening to myself speak and after reflecting about it, I realized it was pretty presumptuous of me to assume that I know what, thousands of Indians go through in Dubai every day and why is it that they fail. So what I decided is, okay, let me spend time and focus on the clients that I've worked with, the people who have trusted me with their confidential information, who have shared with me aspects of their lives. And then despite working with them, why is it that they failed? Now, I know it must be pretty surprising for you that I would share this, because normally when you go to a YouTube channel or you listen to a coach, mentor, trainer, they will talk to you about success stories. But if you have followed my channel over the period of time, you know that I'm unafraid to share with you the failures, because what I believe is you learn much more from your failures. You learn much more, even more, from other people's failures and mistakes, so that it keeps you grounded and it makes you realize that if they could fail, maybe even I can fail. And one life is too short to make all the mistakes. That is why I always tell people, learn from other people's mistakes. So in this video, what I'll do is I will share with you why thousands of my clients, okay, over the years. Remember, I have been doing this for 20 plus years, and I'll share with you why is it clients, even after paying me a large sum of money, even after working with me, why is it that they still failed? And feel free to comment down below and let me know your thoughts, whether you think it was my fault or whether you think it's their fault. Okay. And remember, the point and purpose of this video is to help you succeed by learning from other people's mistakes and failures. And feel free to put any questions if you do have. I'll answer it or maybe create a separate video. So let's start off. The first major big reason why people fail, even after taking my coaching, is they go back into their comfort zone. Because remember this much, when you take on coaching, when you take on mentoring, or you move towards wanting to be someone new, you have all these dreams and aspirations. Let's say you want to lose weight. Okay, you decide, okay, I will start with this exercise schedule. Okay, I will not eat these kind of foods. I will eat more of healthy foods. Okay, I will practice intermittent fasting. I will not eat, at various times of the day. But then what happens is, if you have a family that does not support your goal, let's say you don't want to eat when you get up in the morning, but your wife or your mother or your father say, come on, just have one bite. You know what is there? They prepare the meal and they're eating right in front of you and saying, come on, just have one, nothing is going to happen. What, you're going to lose, 100 kilos or what, just by eating one. You're not going to gain back all the weight. Or let's say you want to quit smoking or drinking, or you want to keep fit, and your friends are saying, come on, man, just one smoke. Just one smoke. Nothing is going to happen here. Or just drink one peg. Come on, you're with all the boys. Drink one small little thing. You're not going to be an alcoholic. So when you get people who kind of put these temptations in front of you and you're trying your level best to overcome all this, it becomes impossible to succeed. And that is where people fail. So the first one is going back into your comfort zone, going back into those old relationships or your old environment and not making a conscious effort to get out of it. And remember, it's very easy for me to say, you need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to get rid of those toxic friends or those bad friends or that company that you have. Maybe that's all you got. And, do you think it's possible to get rid of your parents, get rid of your brother, sister, get rid of your let's say office colleagues? It's not possible. So the first big reason why so many of my clients have failed over the period of time is, one is your old friends, your old company of people you hang out with, your old environment, your mother, father, brother, sister, and others who don't share the same vision, who don't share the same passion, who want you to be like them, who want you to be mediocre, who want you to be, just let go, man. Who wants six-pack abs? Just enjoy, just relax. So I'll tell you, change is very hard, very, very hard. Getting back to old habits, the bad habits, is very easy. That is why people who want to quit smoking, drinking, and even, bad company, or let's say porn, or, let's say females. If you have a group of friends that are into all this, it becomes impossible. So that's number one. Number two is, I would say that you don't have a support staff, or you don't have an environment that supports your goal. Same thing. Let's come back to losing weight. you want to lose weight. But if you're surrounded by people who are health fanatics, who are dedicated gym goers, who, let's say, run long distance marathon, like I had, when I wanted to improve my running or learn to run long distances, I joined a running club. But in case you want to improve, let's say you're running or you want to run long distance and there is no running club, there's nobody to give you company, you're all alone. Yeah, there are some people who manage to do it alone, but if you had a group of people who'd support you, who'd encourage you, who'd wake you up in the morning when you're lazy or tell you, come on, man, stop being, like this. Someone who has your back, the chances for success are much more easier. And on top of that, if you have a mentor or a coach or a guide, it becomes far more easier to achieve this. But just imagine that you have this goal, but you have nobody to help you. You want to get good marks in the exam. You want to, let's say, learn a new language. You want to lose weight, get fit, get in shape. But if you don't have support, it's not possible. See, right now, I'm once again doing my intermittent fasting. I will not be eating food for a couple of days. Why? Because I want to reset my system. I want to get rid of the toxins. I want to get rid of my addictive habits of eating sugar, of munching every time. I have a relationship with food that has been addictive in nature. My addiction is food, one of the biggest ones. But now, if I want to lose weight or I don't want to eat food, or I want to do fasting. But then if my wife comes and brings delicious food here, or she is literally eating in front of my face, or she doesn't support me or encourage me or keep saying, come on, just have one bite, I'll never succeed. I'll never. In fact, it becomes frustrating. So if on the other hand, I tell my wife, see, listen, please support me. I want to maintain my fast, say without food for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 days, whatever. And she says, fine. And she makes sure that I get my carbonated soda on time. I don't get disturbed when I feel weak, and I tell her I'm getting a headache, I want to quit my fasting. She says, no, stick to it, just 1-2 more days. That little bit of encouragement, which actually I don't need, but I'm just saying it'll help you achieve your goals. So the second very important point is your support function. Do you have a group, or do you have a mentor, or do you have a friend, or do you have somebody who holds you accountable, who holds you steadfast and focused on your goal? Because that really matters. Okay. Number 3 is, I would say that maybe you are your own worst enemy. And the best way to explain this to you is, there are some people who, when they want to change, they will convince themselves and say, enough of this, I'm fat, I'm unhealthy, I can't take this stuff anymore, hell with this, I'm going to change. And they get the money, they pay the money to the coach, and they say, let's start. I don't care what it takes. I will achieve success. I will lose weight. Okay, fine. So you have convinced yourself. But then that very same person, after a few days, when things are not going easy, when things are tough, he says, why the hell do I want to do this exercise here? Let me just sleep for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes, let me just close my eyes. Nothing is going to happen. And then instead of waking up on time, that 5 minutes becomes half an hour. Then he says, oh, now it's too late to go to the gym here. Let me just sleep. And then after they skip one day, Chalia, I'll just take a rest for today. Tomorrow I will do it. So now, where once upon a time they were convincing themselves to change, now they have started to convince themselves why they don't want to change. Same thing can be whether losing weight, running a business, wanting to learn a new skill, a new language. It's like I had this bad habit where when I was madly in love with a girl, or I wanted to be with a girl, I would give all the reasons why this girl was different. But then when I lost interest in the girl and I found a new girlfriend, I would give myself all the reasons why the new girl was better than the old girl, So it's like, I was my own worst enemy. And my mentor was the one who told me this. He said, Loy, when you wanted to marry that girl, you gave me all the reasons why that girl is the right girl for you, why it's time for you to settle down, why it's time for you to get married. And now when things are not working out, you're giving me all the reasons why you don't want to be with her, why it's better to be single than to get married. So, I was my own worst enemy. And I'll tell you, this is not just me. Many people out there have the same problem. When they want something, they'll convince themselves all the reasons why they should do it. And when they lose interest or get bored, they convince themselves why, the grapes are too sour. Which brings me to the next point, I think point number 4. This one is very critical and very important. See, change is tough. It's not going to be easy at all. And there are days where you'll not feel like going to the gym, not feel like studying, not feel like going to work, not feel like doing that thing that you are so disciplined about. And they say, when the going gets tough, okay, either if you keep on, then the tough gets going, or you have a choice to going gets tough and you decide to quit. And it's very unfortunate but there are very many people who, when the going gets tough, they decide it's not worth it here. Like, I'll give you simple example. This client of mine, let's call him Jacob, he wanted to migrate to the West. And I told him, well, that's a good thing because he was in engineering. He was in Dubai. He was from South India, Kerala. And he said, I want to migrate to, let's say, Canada. Example I'm giving you. And I said, fine. We discussed what all he needs to do. I got him in touch with the right agency for helping him, with his paperwork. So obviously, he had to save money per month. He got all the money paid, started the paperwork. But obviously now he actually has to resign from his job. He has to make sure that he goes to Canada within that, prescribed period of time. He has to start from scratch, from zero. All right, because he's not going to get a senior level position, which obviously means that he's not going to get the package that he was getting. So now all of a sudden, it did not seem fun anymore. And he would have to suffer for the next 5 to 10 years until, let's say, he got his footing, he got his grounding, his foundation. Now, all of a sudden, the guy who literally wanted to go abroad, who wanted to have a new change, start a new life, who gave me all the reasons why, if he gets a white passport, if he gets a Canadian passport, he can travel the world. He can give his children a better life. He can, him and his wife can get the benefits of their old age or whatever. The Canadian government will take care. Now, all of a sudden, he started to give me the reasons why he didn't want to go. Why? Oh, there is racism there. Oh, they will give me this pathetic salary. Oh, the weather is too cold. Oh, I'll be too far away from my parents. Oh, I will not have friends and family. So he became his own biggest enemy. So, and the reason for that is he realized that wanting to make a change is going to be painful, is going to be tough. So, like this, when the rubber meets the road, you come to know the person's true character. Now, this is not me attacking him in terms of his character, but he just realized that he didn't want to go through the pain. So always remember, change only takes place when you get out of your comfort zone and when you go into that area where it's very painful. Because like me, right now, I'm doing my fasting. It's not easy. The headache, the body ache, the cravings, the lack of sleep, the hunger pangs. It's not at all easy, but I have a choice. Either I stick to it or I give up, because end of the day, nobody's going to be watching me doing this. There's not going to be fanfare. There's not going to be, publicity, wow, and all that. I'm just doing this for myself. And end of the day, if I, let's say, reset my body, I get back in keeping myself fit or good health. Only I can see that, nobody else. So who am I doing it for? So then that moves me to the next point. Point number 5 is, this one is, we would say, the biggest reality or challenge of all Indian passport holders, and that is they have too many entanglements, they have too many things to do, they have too many priorities. They are just not able to divert all their resources, energy, willpower into that primary task. So when something is not of priority for someone, I doubt they are going to take their time, effort, money, resources into making that change. Because remember this much, paying a coach is, you get the money and you paid him, okay? But now, after you pay the coach, now begins the journey that every single day you will have to dedicate time, effort, money, discipline. You'll really have to go through the grind. See, it's very easy to look at someone who has six-pack abs, or who has money like Elon Musk, or who has the success of a film actor, actress, or singer, or MMA fighter, or someone you admire in terms of their career, business growth, or corporate position. But then what they went through to reach that level, the office politics, the daily grind, the discipline, the ass kissing, the fakery, the networking, the burning the midnight oil, waking up in the middle of the night to study or to work hard or to discipline yourself when others are hugging their pillow and sleeping in the nice chill room with their warm blankets. It's very hard. You have to really dig deep to give yourself the reason. And then just imagine if you have wife and kids and your priorities, and you have to get up in the morning and go to work, and then after that you have traffic, and then you have the stress of your office, and then you have traffic to come back home, and then you have to take care of household chores, and then you have your wife, and then you have your kid. You're completely exhausted, and after you're exhausted, then you have to focus on your goal. I mean, you lose interest. So that is why so many people, especially Indians, why do you think they are physically unfit? Why do you think so many of them are just earning that same salary, same job, same position, same relationships? Because by the time they finish everything else, they're just so exhausted, and they can't get out of it. They can't, ignore their wife. They can't ignore their children. They can't ignore their parents. They can't ignore office work. They can't ignore paying their bills. So what do? And that is where, when you don't have the time, effort, money, dedication, discipline, and the mental resilience to prioritize the task, then obviously it's never going to be a success. I always tell people, if something is not your priority, you're never going to focus on that task and you'll never succeed. I'll give one final point, and that is one of the biggest reasons why people fail is forget the external environment, forget the reasons. It is, I tell people, maybe you are your own biggest enemy. Okay. And maybe it's time you sit down with yourself and ask yourself, what is it that you really want? See, who doesn't want to be rich? Who doesn't want to have six-pack abs? Who doesn't want to be healthy? Who doesn't want to be successful? All of us, all of us. But then the question is, yeah, that is what you want, but are you really willing to put the time, effort, and money into that? Because wanting something, all of us want things. All of us have big dreams. How many of us are ready to pay the price for it? And that is where I tell people, maybe it's not in your DNA to achieve that. I'll give a very simple example. And I think I can break this into two parts. The first one is you have to, sit face to face with your reality. That is number one. Maybe it's not in your DNA. And second one is maybe it's like the shiny object where you look at it, you're very fascinated, but it doesn't appeal to your core. I'll explain the two so it makes sense. My example, I've always wanted to be popular. I've always wanted to be famous. I've always wanted to be liked. I've always wanted to be the good guy. When you see a movie, there is a hero, there is a villain. All of us like to identify ourselves as a hero. We always want to be the good guy. James Bond has the beautiful women, expensive cars, the cool gadgets. Who wants to be the villain and, die and be the loser? Nobody. We always want to be the hero of the movie. We want to be the guy with the beautiful car, the expensive, taste, the beautiful hot woman, the money. Okay, we all want to be the success story. However, unfortunately, what do I mean by when it's not in your DNA? For me, even though I wanted to be popular, famous, liked by everyone, the other side was I had ADHD. I was rebellious. I didn't like to follow rules. I wanted to do my own thing. I always like to challenge the status quo, and I would not fit in. You see my tattoos? They don't fit into society. I questioned God. I would never fit into religion. I didn't like to study. I would never fit into, the circle of people who wanted to study, get good marks. I didn't like ass kissing. I didn't like to call my seniors sir or follow the corporate hierarchical system where you have to respect the boss, go to office on time, do the work, take home a fixed income. I didn't like all those things. I wanted to sleep whenever I liked, get up whenever I liked. I like to do my own thing. I most of the things that were happening in the corporate world, I couldn't resonate with it. Why wear suit and tie? Why do you have to behave yourself? Why do you have to act like you like your boss when you hate him? Why do you have to call someone sir when you don't respect him? So this would never make me fit into the normal culture. And that is where I could not, no matter what I tried, I could not fit into the church. I could not fit into society. I could not fit into the corporate world. I could not fit into, my relatives, friends, family, because, they had their own Indianish stuff. They had their Christian tradition, culture, festivities, belief systems. And I was this rebel. So, invariably what I realized is no matter what I do, end of the day, I'm going to, snap back like a rubber band into being Loy Machedo that I am, the rebel. So that is where eventually it was a very painful reality to accept the fact that I'm never going to be liked. In fact, I made this video before. When I went into coaching and wanted to discover who I really am, to be told that you're an asshole, to be told that you are not likable, you're controversial, you are the bad guy, you're the person people like to avoid, it kind of hurt my feelings. But then I realized this is what I am. So why am I pretending to be a nice guy? Why don't I just be myself? An asshole, a bad guy, a villain, So I'm not faking who I am. I'm not what you see, this rebellious nature, these tattoos, these earrings. It's not me trying to fake it, trying to be who I'm not. That is why content creators who always like to kiss ass and be the nice guy, the decent person, the day they are exposed into this is what they do when the camera is switched off and nobody's watching, people immediately hate them. And that is one of the main reasons why, despite my controversy, people have embraced me, because I remain true to myself. So the first point of these two parts is being true to yourself. Maybe it's not in your DNA. Maybe you're not meant for that goal of losing weight or, aiming for big money or trying to be the nice guy, whatever it is. Okay. It doesn't match you. The second bit is, where maybe you just don't have it in you. See, there are a lot of people who want to be physically fit, who want to be rich, who want to, be loyal and faithful to their wives or their spouses. But let's say you want to be rich, but you love spending money. Let's say you want to be rich, but you don't like working 24/7. You like to be lazy. You like to watch TV. You like to enjoy with your friends. You like to go out. You value your friends, your family. You want to do things which are fun, but do not match your goal. Then you'll never achieve it, right? So it's like being a foodie who loves food, who for whom food is an addiction, but wants to lose weight. Impossible for you to lose weight. You can go to the gym and literally train in the gym for 8 hours, 10 hours. But then if you go hog, let's say an ice cream, and then you have, let's say, a nice king size burger meal, with French fries and ice cream and a large soda that is Coke, you'll never lose weight. So you need to come to terms with yourself that maybe that is not your priority. Maybe you're in a happy place. Maybe it's just you. So you need to sit down and be realistic. Listen, I don't think I'm going to be a millionaire. I don't think I'm going to be a successful businessman. In fact, I don't think I'll be loyal and faithful as a husband or a boyfriend. So you need to come to terms with your own reality, which is very hard for some people. All right. So I hope these points give you some insight as to why so many thousands of my clients, some who have succeeded, but some also who have failed. Why is it that they're failed? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think what I'm saying makes sense to you? And yes, what are the biggest challenges you face? I would love to read your thoughts in the comments below. Having said that, I hope this video added value. This is me signing off. You guys take care.